Alright, good morning.
Good morning.
Alright, today we're going to do the refrigeration cycle. Alright, we hint on it a little bit earlier in the year, now we're going to dive off into it. Alright, and learn what the components are. Two main objectives are understanding the terms and concepts during the refrigeration cycle and explain each component of the refrigeration cycle. Alright? Alright? Alright, we already went over the four main components, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Alright, so name those four components for me.
Compressor, evaporator, expansion device,
Condenser.
And condenser.
Yeah.
Alright, and each of those are used in the refrigeration cycle. It doesn't matter if it's a home air conditioner unit or a freezer for a restaurant. Alright, those four main components are going to be in those systems, right? Alright, and this is what we learned to draw. Alright, do we know which way the refrigerant's flowing in there?
They flow
counterclockwise.
They flow
Either
clockwise.
way. Counterclockwise.
It depends.
Either way.
It depends if it's heat or air conditioning running.
Either way.
Alright, if it's just an air conditioner, not a heat pump, that's kind of what you were hitting on. If it was just an air conditioner, it always flows from the compressor to the condenser.
Okay.
Like if I had these turned around, it wouldn't flow clockwise. You can't go off, oh, it flows clockwise. It depends on how the components are set up.
Oh, okay, I got it.
The compressor to the condenser. So this is something new for us. We're going to draw a line down there. What's that line? Can anybody take a wild guess of what that means?
Which ones are outside and which ones are inside?
Okay, inside and outside. So which one is
Condenser units outside.
condenser and
Compressor.
we're out? This is inside, right? Alright, and we know our flow of refrigerant is this way. Is that correct? Alright, so we got our inside and outside, we got our refrigerant flow, right? We all got that.
Yeah.
Moving on. Alright, now we're going to break it down by each component. Evaporator, which is going to be right here. Is that the inside or outside? Inside. What unit is that in? Air handler. So on the inside, you have an air handler, which is that thing we changed the fuse at the other day when we was looking at that code. That's called the whole unit's called an air handler. All right, we good? And there's an evaporator coil inside of it, and also expansion device. All right, and that's your evaporator. All right, Drew, tell me what the evaporator is.
Heat exchanger that transfers heat from an area being
A little louder.
a heat exchanger that transfers the heat from the area being cooled to the refrigerator.
Alright, we got a heat exchanger. That's what an evaporator does. It exchanges heat. So it exchanges heat from the room right to the refrigerator. Alright, this is basically how it works. We got air coming in from the room. We got our A coil, which is the evaporator. And then we got the vents where it flows into the registers. Alright, so the air goes across the evaporators and blows into the room. It exchanges the heat. This is where the heat exchange happens. It exchanges the heat from the air to the what? Refrigerant. So there's coals running right here. And the air, it exchanges the heat from the air to the refrigerant. It soaks up the heat. That's pretty neat. That's all new. That's getting into the refrigeration cycle head on right there. So that's what a refrigerant does. It soaks it in, soaks the heat in. So when the air flows through here and it's say 88 degrees, then the refrigerant soaks the heat in, then the air feels a little cooler on it. 79. So that changed 9 degrees just by going across the evaporator. Everybody see how that kind of working? So what is it? If I say, what is an evaporator? It is a heat exchanger. Alright. One down, free to go. Compressor. You asked about that earlier. What's a compressor?
It creates the pressure differences in the system needed to make the refrigerant flow and the refrigerant cycle work.
Perfect. So it's creating the flow. That's getting us
The pressure of the fluid.
Pressure of the fluid. All right. And there's a small little clip right here we're going to look at. Now we got the video up. This is a compressor. This is the inside of a compressor and how it works. You got a piston. If I see the piston right there, let's press play and let's watch it in action. Let's go through the cycle. I'm going to stop it right there. Alright, so this is my compressor. This is a line coming in and a line coming out. I got a line coming in and a line coming out. Y'all see how it sucked it in? See how it sucked? That's a refrigerant right there. That's a vaporized refrigerant. So it sucks the vaporized refrigerant in. And what does it do? Another name for that?
Compresses it.
Compresses it. What's it doing?
Compresses
Compressing.
air.
Air?
Refrigerant.
Refrigerant? What type of refrigerant?
Freon.
Alright.
Non.
Liquid or vapor? Vapor refrigerant. There's another thing we can add on our refrigeration cycle.
Vapor.
Oh, okay.
Alright, so vapor. Really, I should have drew it down here.
So the evaporator burns it dead. Wait.
So that's my vapor. Okay. It's my vapor side. Alright, so what would make the other side? It's not
The
vapor.
liquid.
Refrigerant. It was liquid refrigerant.
So here's my line that's saying, hey, this was vapor, this is liquid. Alright, so what does that tell me? That in the compressor, it only deals with what?
Vapor.
Vapor. My meter device only deals with
Liquid.
liquid. That's two main components in the refrigeration cycle and what they deal with, what type of refrigerant they deal with. That's perfect. Alright, let's move on. That's the compressor. That's how the compressor works. What does it do to vapor?
It compresses it.
Compresses it. Condenser. What does it do, Rebecca?
A heat exchanger that exchanges that transfers the heat absorbed by the refrigerant to the cooler, outdoor air, or another cooling substance.
Alright, so it's another heat exchanger, right? So the evaporator took the heat from the room, brought it to the refrigerant. So what do y'all think the condenser coil is doing?
Taking the air from the outside.
Taking the heat from the refrigerant.
And putting it
Taking the
outside.
vapor from the condenser and bringing that.
Yep, it's taking the heat that it took heat from here,
Yeah.
and the heat's in the refrigerant. Now a fan's gonna blow it outside. So it takes the heat from inside your house to the outside. Alright, condenser coil, that's your condenser unit, right? We looked at those on the outside of the house. This is actually the condenser coil. Coil is made up of these fins and copper tube. So when people say the condenser unit, they're actually talking about the whole unit, all its components. This is the condenser coil. It's made up of fins. This is where the air blows across, and the copper tube. Right. All right. What's our last component?
The evaporator.
Expansion device.
Expansion device. What does it do? Y'all remember?
Because it,
On the
it's a
first
metering
time.
device, not much, right?
What does it do?
It lowers the temperature.
Pressure drop.
Pressure. Pressure. That's what it does. It drops the pressure. That creates the pressure drop in the system. All right. Just think of it like a water hose. Like if you pinch off the water hose, it stops. If you barely crack it open, you got pressure behind it, and it's just barely squirting out, right? If you put your finger over it, it raises the pressure. Right? If you hold the end of the, okay, everybody good? That's what that acts like. It acts as the pressure drop. It's like you're barely having it pinched, and it's just barely coming out. Alright, so we can add something else on here now. So if that's doing that, it's creating a pressure what?
Drop.
Drop.
So
That's
now
pressure increase.
we're going to draw another line on our already pretty refrigeration cycle drawing. So what is that line cutting off? What is that dividing?
Pressure.
Pressure drop.
Pressure drop, high pressure, and low pressure. Perfect. Man on top of it. Alright, what side's a high pressure? The
The
right side or left side?
Right side.
High pressure's on the right side.
coming into the expansion
Is
device.
it on the right?
And the low is through the evaporator. And
Runs through the evaporator. But this is not just over here in this corner, that's where it's low,
it's all on that side.
on this side of it, right?
From when it leaves the expansion device until it hits the person.
Alright, perfect. Alright, so where does the low pressure drop happen in the refrigeration cycle?
In the expansion device,
Where does the high pressure happen?
in the compressor.
Compressor compresses it,
Yeah.
real small, the vapor, then the valve opens and then it shoots through the whole system.
So the compressor is turning low pressure into high pressure,
Correct.
which is in terms vapor.
Yes, and that's the vapor side, this is the liquid side, that's the high side, that's the low side, this is the outdoor, this is the indoor.
All right.
We added a lot to it now, that one.
Yes.
That's just cracking the surface off. But that's a good start.